16 years ago, when I was a colonel, I was nominated to attend a seminar by Confederation of Indian Industries on human resources and industrial relations. As big names from different business houses spoke and discussed, I learnt of their problems, their pressures. During the tea break, somebody told me, "Oh, you're very fortunate, Colonel. You don't have such pressures, you don't have such issues, you don't have to match any productivity, profits, no timelines. And you have a disciplined workforce of soldiers, not belligerent workers whom you have to motivate to work. You don't know how tough it is to motivate the frontline workers." I said to him, "Are you kidding? You have to motivate your team, your workforce, for better productivity, better profits. Look at my situation. My front line consists of soldiers who have to be motivated enough to risk their lives. Not profits, not productivity, not targets, not timelines, but their very own existence. Or worse still, he could be wounded and be crippled for life." They admitted that they never thought of it like that. And then they invited me to speak in the session after lunch. I said, "Oh, no, I'm not prepared for this." And he then said, "Then speak from the heart." Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what I told them. I'm going to tell you why a soldier does what he does. Why a soldier anywhere in the world is willing to risk his life for his country, for a cause. A soldier does not risk his life simply because he's ordered to do so, and as a disciplined soldier, he does what is asked of him. I'm also going to tell you what makes the Indian Army a most professional army. Why the nation turns to the Indian Army in times of need. Whether it is an internal security situation of counter-terrorism or communal violence, whether it is a disaster relief situation of a flood or an earthquake, or even if it's constructing a bridge in an emergency. And this is in addition to our primary task of defending the borders. All this is possible because of the Indian Army soldier, his bravery, his dedication, his discipline. Since I'm not a speaker, only a soldier with more expertise in counter-terrorism, I'm going to talk around my life experiences. And yes, I will speak straight from the heart. Imagine on a snow-covered glacial mountain where icy winds are blowing up a snowstorm at an altitude of 21,000 feet. Temperature is minus 30 degrees centigrade, where men get short of breath. Did you just hear that? 21,000 feet. Another 8,000 feet and you are at Everest. In such circumstance, we, after a long and arduous and a risky march, we have reached our objective, an enemy post, which we have to capture. Now one asks for volunteers to lead the attack. Every soldier realizes that while everyone is equally at risk of getting hit by an enemy bullet, but out of the 3 soldiers in the lead, the chances of blowing up a foot in the minefield or taking a direct hit of enemy bullet are very high. In fact, almost certain. And yet we always have more volunteers to lead than we need. Let me ask you a question. Why does a soldier does what he does? Why does he want to put himself in the harm's way? What do you think it is? Pay? Is it pay? Patriotism? What? Any guesses? Let me try and demystify a soldier for you. You'll all agree that to do anything extraordinary, one has to have a very high sense of self-esteem. During the selection process, during his training, a soldier's self-esteem is cultivated and enhanced by a series of competitions and courses, awards and incentives, even punishments. When it comes to competitions, whether it's a football match or a rifle firing competition or an endurance run, the men go to great lengths to see their unit win. So high is the collective self-esteem of the unit that you'd be amazed to see the enthusiasm displayed at every level. Why is winning so important? Winning is important because in my profession, there are no runners-up. Those who do not win often end up dead. So we see that it is a high sense of self-esteem of a soldier which is aligned to the collective self-esteem of the unit, which is further aligned to a higher cause. And that is what makes a soldier want to exceed that. When it comes to the operations or battles, we look up to the rich tradition and history of our battalions, the gallantry awards that we have won, the battle honors that we have won in the past. Let me try to explain that with the example of my own battalion. I am from 8th Battalion, the Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry. My battalion has been bestowed with the title of Bravest of the Brave, a rare honor given to very few select units who have won two of the highest, or who have been awarded two of the highest gallantry awards. Thank you. Thank you. Our battalion was awarded the Paramveer Chakra in 1987 when we captured Bana Top at Siachen Glacier at an altitude of 21,000 feet, the highest attack in the world. Thank you. Then in 2007, my battalion was awarded Ashok Chakra at the line of control in J&K for counter-terrorist operations. My battalion has a very rich operational history, be it 1971 war, where we won 2 battle honors, or in countless counter-terrorist operations where we have had record successes and awards. In fact, my unit is one of the most decorated units of the Indian Army. A unit is like a family. We grow up together, officers and men. We spend more time in our units than we spend at home with our families. And our unit also encompasses the whole ecosystem, including our families. It helps to motivate a soldier to brave dangers when he knows that in case of his martyrdom, his family will be taken care of. While nobody can compensate for the sad loss, but money will be least of their worries. In fact, there is an old joke that says, a dead soldier is worth more than a living one. And it's not only about money. We continue to remain in touch. We monitor their children's education, their weddings, etc. When I was co-commander in Kashmir, I went to attend the wedding of the daughter of one of my unit's martyrs, only because he and I had been in several firefights together 2 decades ago. To reach his village, I flew by a chopper to a remote location in the mountains of Bhadrava in J&K. Then I had to drive up several kilometers on a dirt track, and thereafter a 30-minute trek up the mountain took me to his village. That is the kind of sense of belonging we have. It is this sense of belonging. It is this regimentation, that collective self-esteem that I spoke to you about. It is these factors that make a soldier, an officer, take such great pride in his unit, in his battalion. Every soldier wants to exceed that. Every soldier fights for the name of the battalion, the glory of his battalion. He fights for the honor of his unit, the Paltan ki izzat, the flag of his regiment. He would rather die than let his Paltan down. That is what we endearingly call our battalion, Paltan. And this is just one battalion. There are over 400 such battalions. And this pride holds good for each of those 400. Let's now dwell on leadership. In the army, your real test, or first real test of leadership comes when you command a battalion. A battalion is a team of under 1,000 men and officers. I took over the reins of my battalion in 1998 as a colonel in thick of militancy in J&K. We had recently been inducted into that sector. In our first encounter with terrorists, we lost an officer. The morale of the unit was shattered. There was despondency in the air. Even I was feeling very low. I could not sleep that night. Somewhere in the early hours of morning, I realized that my soldiers, my troops are looking up to me for leadership. So I pulled myself together. The next morning I gathered my troops, and this is what I said to them. Yesterday, we lost a brave officer who took a bullet in his chest while leading from the front. Today, as we grieve his loss, what is the best way to pay homage to such a martyr? By eliminating more and more terrorists. Our battalion has such a history of gallantry ever since we were raised. Look at what we did in Siachen. There too, our first operational casualty was an officer, and see how we covered ourselves up in glory after that. We are going to do just that. We will pay homage to Major Rohit Sharma by making sure that not a single terrorist remains in our area of responsibility. Thank you. Little did I know that my words will prove to be prophetic. In the 3 years of my command over there, we notched up record successes and a rich haul of awards. Looking back, I now see more clearly how we did what we did. In the second encounter with terrorists, I did not wear a bulletproof jacket. It was foolish. I was acting braver than I felt. But my taking this risk and leading from the front galvanized the soldiers. I saw a very different energy in my troops in that encounter. And that also set the tone. All the officers, all the leaders always led from the front. And this stoked up a very positive spiral of bravery. I know there is a thin line between being foolhardy and being courageous. But I also realized that if your intentions are good, your soldiers, your troops will see through it. And in return, they will give their best. The soldiers see through a leader's intentions very well. When officers lead from the front with courage, the soldiers are charged with bravery. The examples of Dil Mange More, Captain Vikram Batra, and many such young leaders are still fresh in our minds. True leadership comes to fore when you face setbacks. The ability to spot hidden opportunities in a setback is a hallmark of good leadership. It's a valuable lesson I learned in that Major Rohit's encounter. Once again, when I was Corps Commander in Kashmir, Uri happened. You may recall that in a suicide attack on 18th of September 2016, 4 terrorists sneaked in from across the line of control, entered an army camp at Uri, and we lost 19 soldiers. It was a black day for me. But instead of witch hunting, I supported them. Just like the higher leadership supported me. But it was a big tragedy. The whole country was incensed. There was anger in the nation against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. The leadership was agitated. My soldiers wanted revenge. We decided to turn this pain into an opportunity. I got clearances for what we did, and surgical strikes happened. Thank you. Thank you. So friends, we see that a soldier has a very high self-esteem, and a unit, a battalion, has a well-developed collective self-esteem, which aligns the soldier to the higher cause. Call it divine will, call it patriotism, and this is in the mind. Physically, in the battlefield, the leaders lead from the front. At the back of his mind, there is this reassurance that in case he lays down his life for the country, his family will be looked after. All this put together gives him the courage, the passion, the bravery, the grit and determination to overcome all odds. He would rather die than let his Sultan down. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why a soldier does what he does. Straight from the heart. Jai Hind.